All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekakwadash, giving double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. It's coming back with another lesson. This lesson was inspired by a lesson, that the officer Kasha Kuala, the GMS Atlanta camp, he did a lesson on the difference between reading and studying, as well as a post that was put up by, Bishop Atazawam out of the GMS Atlanta camp, also entitled Discipline Equals Freedom, And this is something that you have to have is discipline, when it comes to reading and studying. And the thing about it, you need order. You could be out here just going willy nilly, within this truth, but you still have to have order and discipline. And this is something that seems basic, but it's not, because you could spend a lot of time reading or a lot of time studying, neglecting one or the other, and you'll be stuck. So you have to combine the two. And this is something that I had I had to learn it recently, and this lesson right here inspired me to, even move forward more. It helped, this lesson right here helped me grow. And how long? 22 minutes and 29 seconds. So, it's a difference between reading and studying. But, you have to have discipline to be able to do either one. So that's what, kind of want to get into is having discipline, to be able to read and study efficiently, not just doing it just to say you did it, but actually retaining what you read and being able to study, effectively, to be able to also retain the knowledge, But with that being said, we're just going to get a couple scriptures. And then I went to chat and looked up some things on fruits of the spirit, because, we're going into Galatians 5 and 22 as well as 23, going into the fruits of the spirit. So I just went to chat, and just got a brief summary. But, we'll get into that. So this is 2 Timothy chapter 1. And we're going to go to verse 7. It says, "For the Most High hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." So this is what we want to focus on, having a sound mind. So let's go to the NLT, because it puts it in perspective of what's being talked about here. It says, "For the Most High have not given us a spirit of fear or timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline." So that's what we want to focus on, is self-discipline. You have to have self-discipline to be able to be, grow as a teacher, as a prophet, as a brother, because, hey, and this carries over in our personal lives also, man. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua gave us a spirit of self-discipline, man. So we got to apply these things, especially when it comes to the truth. Salaki, especially when it comes to this truth, because without self-discipline, man, you're not going to last long. You're going to be out here like Genesis and all the rest of these guys out here falling out, man. So let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians. And we just going to, kind of breeze through it, because it's not meant to be deep or complicated. We're just going into having discipline, man, and to be able to grow in his faith. So this is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 24. It says, know ye not that they which run a race, know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. So run that ye may obtain. It says, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we a incorruptible. This is going into, being sincere about what we're doing, man. These a lot of these guys out here doing this for popularity, constellation on this side, but we're doing this, to secure a spot, in the kingdom, man, on the first go round. So verse 26, it says, I therefore so run, not as uncertainty, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Just punching at the air, man. We doing this for real achievement, man. A real goal we have set. Verse 27, it says, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, self-discipline, that least that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. So we're conditioning our bodies, our minds, our spirit to be able to endure until the end. We don't want to be like, clear example, Genesis, man. They doing this to obtain a corruptible crown. It says, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, which these guys haven't, and this lesson is not about them, but we're just giving an example of why self-discipline, reading, studying, being in order is important. It says, least by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. And these guys, were preaching to other people, but now they're castaways. Yahweh Shem Yahushua took the spirit away from these guys, because they didn't have self-discipline, which, we're going to get into that, man, which having the fruits of the spirit is, self-discipline is one of those characteristics, man, which they did not have. But, Lord willing, the message is getting across, it was just something real quick. I saw that lesson and then I was like, man, I really got to respond, because it hits home. So let's go to the book of Galatians chapter 5. And we're going to get into the fruits of the spirit. And I think I might look at it in the NLT. And then we're going to go to chat because, man, chat is on GMS's nuts, man. So to speak, I just typed in, a summary of fruits of the spirit, and it gave a summary. And then at the end of the summary, it says Hebrew Israelite / GMS's perspective. And I didn't even put nothing in about GMS, but hey, GMS is definitely on the minds of, whoever using chat, because they want to know, it's amazing, man. But, yeah, this is book of Galatians chapter 5 and 22. It says, but the fruits of the spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. Verse 23, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And we want to focus on temperance. Let's go into this word temperance. It's discipline. Goes into having discipline.
Strong's G 1466, ekrateia, Ekrataya.
Self-control, the virtue of one who masters his desires, passion. It says its sensual appetites, but ruling over your body, putting your body in subjection. Self-control, which is a form of discipline. And you have to have discipline, temperance, to have fruits of the spirit. So let's go to this is brother's video right here. Salaki, if I didn't say that, and I probably share it too, because it's a very edifying. So let's go to chat. Right here it says I just typed in fruits of the spirit, and it says simple summary. Fruit of the spirit, who you become, not what you do. So we're gonna skip down to the last point right here. It says, break this down from a Hebrew Israelite / GMS perspective. And I didn't type nothing in about GMS at all. And then it said, just tell me. So I typed GMS. And then, and lo and behold, it pops up with, what we think about the fruits of the spirit. So, man, whoever using chat is really looking into GMS. They're really looking into us and what we think, because this is the home of the truth, man. Great Millstone. So it says fruit of the spirit, GMS, Great Millstone understanding. It says from the Great Millstone GMS perspective, the fruit of the spirit, Galatians 5:22 and 23, which we just, went into. It says it's not a soft, emotional, church style personality list. We know this, man. It says it is evidence of discipline, order, and obedience to Yahweh through Yahweh Shai, especially for Israel. And this trickles down to the camps, man. From leadership all the way down to the lowest brother, And like I said, this carries over in your personal life also, man. You gotta have discipline, order, obedience, Or you just gonna you gonna be a YN or whatever you might be. You're gonna be locked up or dead. But within this truth, you gotta have discipline, self-discipline, man. It says GMS teaches that the spirit operates within the law, not against it. We know that, the law won't save you. But you'll definitely get destroyed by not abiding by it. We know this. So therefore we operate within the law, to the best of our abilities, man. It says the spirit produces discipline, not lawlessness. You have to have discipline to be able to, read, study. Because there's going to be times where you're going to be like, man, I really don't feel like doing it. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. But you got to fight it, man. You got to fight it, and make no mistake about it. This is not a race that you will run like a sprint, man. This is a marathon. It's so much information, so much knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that you got to soak up, and you got to be in the spirit to be able to do it, man. If you're not sincere about it, you're going to end up like the rest of these guys, man. Not knowing what the MOTB is, not knowing the correct doctrine, not knowing the correct names, just not knowing the proper way to observe the Sabbath. These are all things that you learn by having discipline, order, So it says, if someone claims to be, if someone claims the spirit, but lives undisciplined, rebellious, or fleshly, that is not the spirit. That's what we think, man. You ain't in the spirit. Yahweh Shem Yahushua is not dealing with you, man. If you can't take correction, you out of order, All this, man. Know it all. Everything you see outside of Great Millstone, you know, the rest of these camps, man, that's what you get. You know, the spirit is not dealing with these guys. But like I said, it's not about them. You know, I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, man. You know, always learning. But it says GMS, meaning of each fruit. So let's see what chat got to say about what we think. It says love, keeping the commandments, not emotional tolerance or worldly love. Right. Do unto thy neighbor, not offending your neighbor, man. All these man, I'm butchering it. Let me see. Salaki. Let me see. Love thy neighbor. And Salaki for that. Love thy neighbor is thyself. Man, I should know this. Right here. Yup. Salakia. I should have known that. But it says, owe no man anything. This is the book of Romans chapter 13, verse 8. Salakia. Owe no man anything but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. For this is, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. And if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended by saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. You know, love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is fulfilling of the law. You know, hey, man, gotta prove all things, man. So, you know, that's what we consider love. Because if you love your brother, man, you're not gonna, do any of those things, man. You're not gonna steal from him. You're not gonna, look at his wife. None of that. So, we get all that. Okay, joy, confidence in prophecy, and Israel's future. Joy in knowing Babylon will fall and righteousness will be established. Man, yeah, of course. That's what we look forward to. Not dependent on comfort or prosperity. Yeah. We take joy in knowing Babylon the Great is gonna fall, man. And our kingdom is gonna be established, of course. So, and it goes through it. Like I said, it's just something that just, man, the spirit be working. But we want to jump down to temperance. It says heavy emphasis in GMS. Self-control over mouth, anger, lust, emotions. Discipline separates men from children. Salaki. Hey, man, chat is a fan of GMS. Chat is a fan of GMS, man. That's what I'm getting from this. So it says GMS summary, fruit of the spirit, spiritual discipline. Spirit never contradicts the law. No fruit, no spirit. Emotionalism, spirituality, order, correction, and endurance, evidence of the spirit. So, like I said, this lesson, inspired that, as well as a post that was put up, a YouTube video by the Bishop of Tazalon, saying discipline equals freedom. So, hey, man, that's just where the spirit took it. Like I say, this video is very edifying, because, like I say, man, you got to find order to be able to be an effective teacher, effective prophet. You have to have order in what you're doing. If you all chaotic and unorganized, it's gonna be all over the place, man. You're never gonna learn. You're never gonna get understanding. So, This was just a quick lesson through the spirit and power. How about Shimmy? I was shy. Lord willing, it was edifying. Shalom.